Tell me a little bit about the elements that make Bonfire ATL go around. What makes it what it is?
Well, if I'm going to highlight anything, the first thing I got to highlight is the staff. The most important part of Bonfire ATL is the staff. Most of them been working here at least 5 years. You know what I mean? Some of them been working here for 10 years, 7 years, all the way. Like, it's people who've been here that long. And they know what their job is. And they perform it with perfection each and every Sunday because it's standard at this point. You feel what I'm saying? So at one time, when we first started moving from the location that everybody think is the original location, 880 Woodrow Street, we had to move and the police was really like on us. They was chasing us every week. So we was moving Bonfire every 2 weeks. And we would give the emptiest warehouse, and in 2 hours, we make that shit. What did you see downstairs today? From couches to stage, the lights, the sound, everything. And then the extra element that fucked everything up, the vendors. Because once you set them up, they already got their own little 10 by 10 whatever. So it make it look like a festival. Once that fire get lit, that's Bonfire ATL. And the same exact run of show, everything is the same. And that, now the elements of Bonfire, it's, like I said, it's the staff, number one, that when we get to these places, they set up immediately. Wherever you tell, once we point out where to be, like, yeah, okay, we're gonna do the front door right there, with the stage right there, we're gonna put the bar, whatever. 2 hours. And we couldn't do that without them. It's 30 of them. You feel what I'm saying? We got security that been down for a long time, that understand the assignment. We are outside. Anything can happen. Niggas passing shit over gates. People doing all types of crazy shit. And our security ready. They've been dealing with it for years. They know the checkpoints. They know the blind spots. They know all of that shit. So that's the first thing I got to give props to is the staff. If it wasn't for them, wouldn't be no Bonfire. It's a unique staff. Then the elements of Bonfire. Let's start from the front door. You have, once you come in, you have the vendors. First, parking. You know, with the location we at now, parking has always been important. That was our biggest problem. People breaking in cars and shit. There's like, just like people follow Bonfire to come party, niggas follow Bonfire to break in cars. Niggas, they literally, like, they probably go on Instagram, know where we gonna be at, because they seem to hit, and they hit big when they hit. So the fact that we have 500 plus spaces that inside secured parking right now, that shit is very important. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing. Then you get to a very tight security check line. You know, the lines get really long because each and every individual gets searched. I don't care who you with, how you come. The only way you gonna get past security without getting searched is if I come to the front and be like, yo, they good, they with me. And that don't happen because I'm running the stage. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, everybody gets searched. Everybody get patted down. We looking in your bags, all of that. And then you get past there. The first thing you're going to see when you walk, you're going to see vendors on either side of the field. You know what I mean? And with the vendors, we have 40 plus vendors a week. And these are local businesses, most of them black owned, but we have other nationalities, Dominicans, Haitians, all of that shit. But, you know, most of them are African American, the vendors that we have. And, you know, just family owned businesses. We have people go from tables to food trucks to brick and mortar, just off of coming on Sunday, and tell us straight up. You know, I walk to people's stores sometimes. They're like, oh, and I don't know all the vendors. You know, I deal with all the moving pieces. It was a time where I could just hang out, dap all the vendors up all night and smoke and drink. But we bigger now, and it's hard for me to even I'm running some shit on the inside. So I run into people like, yo, I know you. I used to vend that Bonfire. I'm like, word? Like, yeah, that's how I got this store. Like, word? That shit dope to me. You know, once you get past the vendors, you know, and then you got all types of vendors. You got merch vendors, food vendors, you know, you got CBD vendors, you got all types of shit. Be honest with you, all types of shit. So, like, straight up. But, you know, our vendor base is really broad, and we don't keep the same vendors all the time. We used to, we did for a long time, but then we wanted to include more vendors and give more people opportunity. So we make it to where you can't come straight back to back. You gotta sit out a week. So, you know, sometimes we get the same vendors, but because of that process and it's first come, first serve, we get a lot of new vendors. And yeah, so a large part of the small business community we deal with as well. Now you still outside, so of course you got the fire. And the fire guy, Gary. Gary is a American Indian that looks and sounds Caucasian as hell. But somehow Gary is on an Indian reservation and Gary is American Indian. Straight up. But he's also a fire expert and a builder and everything. Anything you need done, Gary know how to do that shit. So Gary is our fire tech. He has an actual license as a fire tech. So he builds our fire. He made the fire pit. The fire pit is made of a truck bed of an old F-150. And yeah, so you got the fire. The fire is really the most important element of Bonfire. Obviously it's named Bonfire, but ask yourself, is it necessary in the summer? It is, because something about them elements bring people together, and literally something about that shit make everybody believe they had the best time that they ever had in their life. Like, we done had the same event without the fire, and motherfuckers like, yo, that shit was alright, but it could have been da-da-da-da. All we did different was light the fire, and that shit was the most amazing event they ever been to. So, you know, take that shit how you want to take it, but dealing with nature is really real. And something about them elements bring people together. People love being at beaches together. People love sitting in front of fires together and shit like that, man. So, yeah. Then you go inside. Once you get inside, you have more vendors, mostly merch vendors. You have the stage. You have a lot of art. The vending sections are broken up, and there's an art walk, like an art stroll, where you can stroll past 4 or 5 different visual artists that have their art on display. And let's round about, next to the art, you have the video games. And that's my boy Lil Meech. Lil Meech was our go-to general worker guy. Like, anything you need, he moved, clean. Back in the days, Lil Meech was younger, 22, 23. He was doing that shit. And, you know, he grew up, and we try to help him grow. You know what I mean? So he opened his own company called Thumbstick. He got video games, and you come in there, you play the games. He also builds gaming teams. He also outsources his video game setup to different events and stuff like that. And he throws his own events based around the gaming community. So, you know, he provides the gaming area for a Bonfire. If you go in the back room during Bonfire, the only thing you got back there really is our host that hosts the main stage for the artist. She has a podcast she does from 10 to 11 called KK's Corner. She goes to Clark Atlanta University, and she's been doing that podcast before I even met her. Actually, I met her on some wild shit. I was at a Drummer Boy networking event, you know what I mean, just chilling, and she got up, said who she was, what school she went to, and I looked at my boy and I said, y'all want to tap back in with Clark, and I got to get in through these students. I was like, but I need to tap back in, and literally she got up and said that, and I was like, I need to get to her. And probably about 30 minutes later, my homeboy said, you ain't even got to go to her, son. She coming to you. And that's just how she was, how she is now. She probably went to everybody in the room, shook their hand, met them, da-da-da. But when she came and shook my hand, I looked at her, I said, yo, I'm about to change your life. She said, what you talking about, G? You know, she's from Chicago. And I said, yeah, I own Bonfire ATL. She got mad hype. Like, oh shit, yo, Bonfire, yo, da-da-da, whatever. Look, I'm about to change your life, yo. I need you to come rock with me. I gave her my number. She said, I got one better for you, G. I said, what? And then that's when she pulled out the goddamn the hill over there on Clark campus. She put me onto that shit. She said, she showed me the video. I'm like, the barbershop? I'm like, nigga, yo, it was the craziest shit though, Red. The barbershop was my first address. That's where I first ever registered and had my first ID card. It said 140 James P. Broadley Drive on it. Because Green Eyes was my man. You know what I mean? And that was like my mentor type shit back then. So he was like, yeah, you can do your driver's license here type shit. So to circle back, and yeah, I mean, that shit was just crazy, man. But Shorty put me on the mad shit. Like, she tapped me back into the college community. And I could literally say, we done probably had about 10 college parties since I met her, all because I met her. Big college, I'm talking about real, like the old school shits, man, because we got the warehouse. You know, we talking about 1,500 young niggas type shit, like real college back when we was in, like that kind of shit. So, you know, but yeah, so she has the podcast. She be interviewing college students, and she started now interviewing artists that came off the stage. But KK really fresh to the scene. She came on, and we was kicking it. And then one day I was like, yo, I need you to host my showcase because my host didn't show up. And then same shit happened with Bonfire. And then by the time the host was ready to come back, because I think he was having a baby, this nigga didn't want to work no more until his baby was born type shit. Like, I'm like, nigga, you bugging. Yeah, like what the fuck? Like, so I'm like, yo, then when he tried to come back, I'm like, bro, she actually dope at this shit. Because it was shit that she do that I was trying to get him to do. Like, I'll go to him at the end because he decided to announce somebody. He'd be like, yeah, bust some jokes, ha, yeah, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, come to the stage, KK. And you be like, what? Like, what the fuck? And so I try to tell him, I'm like, bro, you gotta go downstairs. And I was a host. You know, I tried to do everything back in the days. I needed money. I used to host showcases for money. I was telling nigga, I was like, yo, you gotta act like go meet niggas, ask them some questions. Where you from? What made you want to do music? How long you been doing music? Who the favorite person in your life that supports you with your music? And now we gonna hit the stage. Coming to the stage, straight from California. This nigga about to kick that hard shit. He said he started doing music because his moms was into the church and he wanted to do some music that she could rock with but still fuck with the hip hop. And I think he gonna make his mama proud. So we gonna see if he gonna do what he's supposed to do. This nigga about to kill this shit. My man, Big Red. Yo, nigga be so hyped by the time he get up there. You help this nigga have a good show. Like, straight up. And you know what I mean? But the nigga he wasn't doing it. Either he couldn't do it or he just didn't give a fuck about what I was telling him to do. So, but I still rock with him. So he still had a job. But when he left, I bring Shorty in and she doing all of that shit on her own. She called me like, yo, I need these niggas' numbers, G. I want to ask them some questions so I could announce them properly on the stage. I said, oh my God. I was like, yo, I got to fuck with Shorty. Podcasting, doing her own little promotional clips and sending them, like creating content. I'm like, look, man. And then she called me the other day and she said, yo, G, I just called you to say thank you, yo. When I met you and you told me you was gonna change my life, I thought you was bullshit, G. She said, but yo, you really did that shit. Like, she getting host gigs at Josephine Lounge and shit like that. College kids still. Like, that's why we do this shit. But so getting away from that, going back, now you walking back around the room, you finally get to the stage because everything else is vendors and shit like that. You finally get to the stage On the stage, we have our comedy host. He hosts a variety show where he engages the crowd to play little games and shit, smoke games, all types of shit. Then he brings out comedians and he books the comedians. O.D. Odell, very well known local comedian that is funny as fuck. That nigga funny as fuck. Naturally, like his improv is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Then you have the sound techs. You got Good and Live in Atlanta is the company. He works large sound shit. He's like one of the general sound guys for Georgia Tech. He also like did Mercedes-Benz Stadium, shit like that. Like he's official with it, but he's fam. So he has his younger apprentices and employees. They work Bonfire for us, and he come in and make adjustments from time to time. You know what I mean? So yeah, we have him. You have our resident DJ, Instrumentals. He been DJing Bonfire for 9 years. And Ant basically runs him and the host, which is KK, who I just talked about. She runs the artist portion, what comes after the comedy. And then it's the band, Nobody's Band. Nobody's Band is, they come right after the comedy is Nobody's Band. Nemo is the drummer. You know, Nemo was the drummer for the Bobby Brown movie too. Now, I'll tell you something about Nemo. I met Nemo in 2009. I used to do a showcase called Get It How You Live Everything Music Exchange. Artists performing, art dedicated to music and music-based art, and a music-based entrepreneur. Something like a product or service that you have and you just opened it up or whatever. And that was Get It How You Live Everything Music Exchange. And Nemo came to me like, yo, I'm a drummer and I would love to drum in back of the artist. And I thought that would be a dope element. Kind of found out years later, that was his first drumming gig. The nigga was not a drummer. So basically I discovered Nemo. And now that nigga drumming for Bobby Valentino on tour and shit like that. You know what I mean? But anyway, so Nemo family. And Nemo has a band called Nobody's Band. He brings me some of the dopest female and male talent vocalists, like, period. He never fails. Every single week, he brings me a new vocalist. So, and then after they get off, then that's when we have, like, local artists perform. I try to really go get more rappers and stuff now because he handles the soul portion of it. Every once in a while, we get, like, a solo artist that, you know, work off of tracks and not the band, and we'll give them a chance when it comes to like R&B and stuff. But that's mostly for like rap, reggae, shit like that. Spanish artists, all types of shit on that stage. And like literally we had Asian artists rapping in Japanese, straight from Japan, come and rap. Everybody gets a chance, yo. Like if your shit sound good, I don't give a fuck if we can't understand a word you saying. If it's riding to the beat and you got the swag and you dead ass, yo, like, yo, because it's for Bonfire is preserved for those who deserve to make it. That's why you can't buy your way. The only people who can buy their way on that stage is like niggas like Sony and shit like that, and that's $1,000. Independent artists perform for free, and we pick them based off of us watching their motion and seeing them like evolve and like, damn, this nigga should be on. You know what? Let's try to give him an extra little boost, put him on the Bonfire stage. So that's what that is. So niggas always ask me, yo, can I pay to get on tonight? No, bro. That's the value of the stage. I could charge Brian Michael Cox $1,000 to break his new artist because I don't charge niggas. If I did, then I'm gonna have to charge him. I charge everybody. Try to get a relationship. Nah, you coming to us. Dallas Austin came to us. Goddamn, Sony came to us. They shot your man New Africa video, Saha the Prince. They shot that shit at Bonfire. You know, Honorable Sino just saw his last video at Bonfire. Super producer nigga. Like, because we don't charge these regular artists, but we also get a lot of artists come perform for free. We done had Kiki Palmer, T.I., B.O.B. We done had Sonny Digital and his crew. We done had Big Bang Black's son. But, you know what I mean? He had 21 Savage, Mike Will, all of them niggas in here. T.I. brought Usher with him. Like, straight up. We got Usher at Bonfire. That shit crazy. Like, I think that was the craziest attendee we've had when Usher came through. Rest in peace, Trouble. Trouble used to live at Bonfire.
Yeah, that mural was up.
Yeah.
Outside fire, man.
B. Simone. Everybody done been to Bonfire, bro. Like, if you don't come to Bonfire, we done had Waka Flocka and his moms on different occasions. You know what I mean? But it's to the point that where if you live in Atlanta and you don't come to Bonfire, you a fucking hater. If you are like a star, like you more on some shit like them niggas gonna pay me to come, like shit. Like we had the whole cast of the game right after they rap pulled up and kicked it, cause you ain't gonna find this shit nowhere else in the world. This is straight up. There ain't nowhere else in the world where you could go every week and wear your regular shit, outdoor, indoor, smoking, drinking, chilling, headphones. You can either be down with everybody or duck off in the corner, put your headphones on and be alone. Niggas got life-size chests sitting out there. You got all the gangsters sitting around with blunts and big cups of liquor playing chess. You feel what I'm saying? The vibe itself, you ain't gonna find that. You can emulate it, but then you're gonna have to get the staff that's dedicated to understand how to maneuver the problems. What you gonna do when the motherfucker bust their head open because they fucked up? Like, what you gonna do? Fire marshal trying to rush and they don't really got no jurisdiction. Niggas ain't intelligent enough to know that. You just let them niggas rush. Nah, you gonna stand here while we continue what we doing. And we'll get to you when you come with something viable. By the time you come back, we done went to your boss and your boss that made you come work there. Dead ass.